All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Sunday Night Live, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please enjoy responsibly. Wow, okay. A lot to get to on week 11 of the NFL. Couple of things I want to start off with off the top. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for everybody that's coming in, watching us, supporting everything that we do. Wanted to get that off the top. Was feeling very grateful for everybody that was hanging out with us on the MMA Hangout last night and moving over to tonight for Sunday Night Live. Really can't appreciate more than what I do for you guys because you guys are awesome. And I just wanted to give that shout out before we got everything off and running for the next 30 or so minutes to get you ready for tonight's game. We got Bengals and Chargers tonight. Sneaky good game, by the way. Sneaky good game. I like that game. We'll get to that game in a second. But we'll start off in the most obvious place. No more unbeaten teams. The Chiefs go to Buffalo and end up getting beaten. Big, just massive play from Josh Allen that I was, again, me being here on my couch in Miami, thinking, look, do I want to go for the 3-point? Do I want to go for the field goal and force them to have to score a touchdown to win the game, even if they haven't really been moving the ball that much in the second half? Or do I want to go for it and put it on the shoulders of my world beater quarterback? And they did. I thought they had a nice little screenplay set up to the outside. Josh was like, nope, going to do this for myself. Ended up taking out like 4 guys on his way into the end zone. So that was a massive, just big boy play from Josh. And we knew that this Kansas City team, the Kansas City team was, I don't want to say house of cards, right? But they were beatable. And they continued to just find ways to win. If it was a blocked field goal, if it was a defensive stand, if it was a last-second drive by Mahomes, if it was a last-second field goal, whatever it is, the Chiefs for the last 9 games have been able to do that. They finally go down. Bills, we were trying to figure out, all right, what is this Bills team on offense? Do they want to establish the run? Do they want to get James Cook active and moving? Do they want to get Josh Allen out in space making plays with his legs? Their wide receiver core, kind of still a little bit out of sync. They've had Keon Coleman, who's gotten hurt. They traded for Amari Cooper, got hurt. Now he was back. Shakir's been their most reliable guy. Dalton Kincaid out, bringing Dawson Knox. Like, there's been a lot of movement in this Buffalo offense, but the one constant, the most important piece is there, and that's Josh Allen. He's just the motor of the entire team. And it, in the beginning of the year, we were like, oh, this Buffalo team, I don't know. They may be just not as good as in years past, obviously, but 9-2, right? They were 8-2, 9-2, just beat the Chiefs, which is always good. They were saying it on the broadcast with Tony and Jim that the last 4 or 5 games have come down to 1-score games, basically. I know this one ended up not being a 1-score game because Mahomes threw the pick at the end, but it was a 2-point game, right? Until they scored that touchdown. And there's an interesting mix now. We're looking at the standings, a couple of more big games that kind of messed with the standings here in the AFC. But Buffalo firmly right now planted at 9-2, obviously 1/2 game back from Kansas City because of the loss that Buffalo has. But I'm intrigued by what Buffalo's doing because it feels like they don't have all the pieces together, yet they're 9-2, and they're moving in a consistent direction, which is winning. Defensively, it feels like they've started to get a couple things on track. I know they're not as good as they were in the past, but this is a team that we talk about every year, right? Buffalo seems to be dangerous until they have to travel to Kansas City and play the Chiefs, right? It's almost like they can beat every other team minus the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. Another big game that shook up the AFC standings We had the Steelers and we had the Ravens, which was a huge AFC North matchup. And I said it on Tony's Top 5 last week. We're about to figure out if the Steelers are maybe the best team in the conference, maybe the best team in football, or if they're the third best team in their own division. And from just, if you didn't watch the game, it was kind of an ugly game, what you expect from a Steelers-Ravens game. If you look at the stats, if you're just counting on the stats, and let me pull up here because I wanted to see it. I couldn't remember off the top of my head what they were. First off, 18-16. Chat, give me ones in the chat. 18-16, ugly score. Terrible score. You never want to see an 18-16 game. Those games are brutal. 18-16, yikes. I'm going to read here. This is insane. I'm going to read the scoring summary for this game, okay? Chris Boswell, 32-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 52-yard field goal. Derrick Henry, 1-yard run. Chris Boswell, 32-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 57-yard field goal. Justin Tucker, 54-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 27-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 50-yard field goal. Zay Flowers, touchdown. Woof. Oh, my God. I am sorry if you had to watch the entirety of that game if you're a Ravens or a Steelers fan. Maybe you like that. Maybe you like that kind of thing where you're playing the field goal game. Lamar, 16 for 33, 207, a touchdown and a pick. Russ went 23 of 36, 205, and an interception. Pittsburgh doesn't score a touchdown, wins the game. How? I feel like Jesse Pinkman. How can he keep getting away with this? I keep trying to count out Mike Tomlin. I keep not wanting to believe in this Steelers team. I keep wanting to say they don't have the quarterback situation figured out. I keep wanting to say their skill players aren't good enough. I keep wanting to say Arthur Smith, there's better offensive coordinators out there. I keep wanting to say they're not a good team. But yet they go out and somehow, some way, don't blink, and find a way to win against a very good team. We can't call them a great team right now, sitting at 7-4. But the Ravens on that side, they're just such a roller coaster team that you get moments where they can beat anybody by 20, and then you get moments like this where they struggle to score touchdowns. They struggle to win tight games sometimes. And it's like, it's confusing because they're one of the best teams in the league. 18-16. You never want to see an 18-16 game. Ever.
Splash.
Thank you. One more time.
Splash.
Thank you. So those two games really shook up the standings in the AFC, excuse me, because we are looking at, let me pull it up really quick. Kansas City stays on top. We got Buffalo in the 2 seed, Pittsburgh at the 3, and sneaky LA Chargers in there, Baltimore falls, Houston. Obviously, they played Monday night, sitting at the 4 seed on the top of the division there in the AFC South. But a bit of a shakeup there. Pittsburgh really, really interesting. And I feel like the Russ experiment, we were all a little confused by. And then all of a sudden, okay. All right. Starting to work a little bit. Didn't score a touchdown, but it's still working. Let's see what other we had a bunch of interesting games this week. Some that we'll skim through really fast. Vikings Titans. Titans continue to not be a good team. Vikings are finding ways to win against some bad teams. Third straight win in a row for the Minnesota Vikings. Just kind of a ho-hum game. Not really anything interesting there. Rams Patriots. Rams are an interesting team. Rams are an interesting team because they sometimes can be so good. Little Flanagan's, by the way, Thursday night. Join us over at Flanagan's in North Miami if you're here in the city, North Miami Beach Flanagan's. We're watching Thursday Night Football, Steelers, Browns there. Go a little plug for that. But what was I saying? Rams. Rams are just a team because if you look at offensively what they like to do, right? McVay loves funneling the ball to his guys. You can look at the stat sheet and see Cooper Kupp is going to have 6 for 100 and a touchdown. Puka Nacua is going to have 7 for 120 and a touchdown. Kyron Williams is going to run the ball 25 times, and that's how they play. They are a very focused offense when it comes to we're getting these 3 guys the ball. Let's go, right? And that's the winning formula for the Rams. Patriots, I will say this. And I know what you're going to say, Tony. Oh, yeah, Tony, you always do this. Drake May. I'm very intrigued by what Drake May is putting on tape. There's some balls that he throws where I'm like, damn, okay. That is a professional quarterback throw. They need to shore up the offensive line. Defense still coming online. They need to get weapons, obviously. But Drake May, I saw somebody write in the chat that Drake May is a bust. I do not believe that whatsoever. I think Drake May is... The Patriots are putting Drake May in a position to win, not giving him the entire season to go make mistakes and then have that self-doubt, right? Bryce Young got thrown into a terrible situation, and look, we're already calling him one of the worst first picks of all time. Drake May took him about 5 or 6 games, and then all of a sudden, you're starting to make plays. You're starting to throw some NFL quality level throws, and it's like, all right, you could start building around stuff like this. So it is it's positive. A 28-22 loss is positive when you're able to put up at least a close game against a team that has a good offense. Oh, we're doing well when the bots are rolling in. I'm gonna get this bot out of the. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's. Oh, by the way, very happy Taysom Hill Sunday to all those who celebrate a massive Taysom Hill game. It's Sean Payton saw this guy and was like, we need to give him a ton of money because he's super dynamic. And when he is super dynamic, you have games like this. And I'm imagining Sean Payton looking at the box score and being like, yeah, that's the vision. Finally, the vision is here. 7 carries, 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, caught 8 passes for 50 yards. Threw an interception on a long play, but happy Taysom Hill day to all that celebrate. 35-14 New Orleans beats Cleveland. Cleveland Jameis threw for almost 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and they lost 35-14. Yeah. The Jameis Winston experience, even though I would have figured it would have had a lot more picks, but that kind of thing. Colts Jets. Can I intrigue anybody in some Colts Jets? If I would have told you at the beginning of the season that the Colts would be wishy-washy on their starter, yet beat a Jets team that was sure about their starter. And after the benching, Anthony Richardson comes back out, has the go-ahead score that ends up winning the game, goes 20 for 30, 272 and a touchdown, runs for 2 more touchdowns. It's almost like that week and some change off helped him be a better quarterback. That's the weird thing about the NFL, right? We talk about it's a weird shaped ball, weird things are going to happen. How in the hell? How is it that you got a guy that's struggling to complete 15 to 20 passes on a given Sunday? If you're the Jets defense, you should be licking your chops at a guy who's been benched for a 40-year-old quarterback who has had some confidence issues when it comes to being the guy that everybody is anticipating him to be. and then he goes out and looks like Lamar Jackson on his best day against your defense. This is a cataclysmic, disastrous season for the Jets. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. This has been the biggest failure for a franchise in a very long time. The Aaron Rodgers experiment was supposed to be so much different. This was a Super Bowl ready defense with playmakers that was a quarterback away. Now we're looking at, man, Zach Wilson didn't look that bad. Zach Wilson actually had a better winning percentage. Zach Wilson's numbers look kind of better than Aaron Rodgers' numbers. How could this situation have been read so poorly? Where you're losing to the Colts, and now the Jets are 3-8. 3-8, and it is over. And I can already see Aaron Rodgers on McAfee on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, and it's just like, what is he going to say? What is he going to say? What is he going to say? It was me. I messed up. Maybe it's time to start looking for a cabinet position. I don't know. But being quarterback of the New York Jets is not it. You make Anthony Richardson look like the ceiling of what Anthony Richardson could be. The ceiling of it. You let him walk in and do that. It's crazy to me. Crazy. Dolphins getting back on track against a just dead in the water Raider team. Jonnu Smith pulls up, former FIU Panther, gets a couple of scores. Tua making plays, looking, a bit better. The offense not as constipated as it was. The last couple games, they're starting to fire on all cylinders. I think I saw a tweet. I want to say it was the last 6 possessions of the game. They scored a touchdown on 4 of them. So Dolphins starting to get back. Again, yes, it's the Raiders, and they just have nobody outside of Max Crosby and Brock Bowers, who is probably the best tight end in football as from a receiving standpoint. Like, he is unreal. Just, it's so hard. I think the hardest position to transition from when it goes to college to pro, right? Obviously, there's a massive, massive learning curve and maturity bump if you're a quarterback, if you're an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Like, those things are very tough because you're playing against grown men, and from a quarterback perspective, you have to be the quarterback of the team, right? But I think the hardest position to transition is tight end, because when you're playing in college, you're asked to block a lot more. You're asked to go out and do certain things. Where you get to the NFL and you got to go out and block a monster edge rusher and then try and go out and beat a world-class safety to a spot and get a first down. It is very difficult. And for Brock Bowers to step in on a bad team and do what he's doing now, it's like the sky's the limit for this kid. He could be one of the greatest tight ends we've ever seen. Bar none. Bar none. We're going to do, by the way, I was just reading some stuff. There's people asking me questions in the chat. We will do a quick Q&A once we run down this end of the last couple of games here. But we will do a quick Q&A, get you ready for the game in about 20 minutes. So, Packers-Bears, Matt LaFleur owns the Bears. Not really much to say there. Divisional game. We know the Bears are not good. We know Caleb Williams. It's a year 2 thing. It's a without Eberflus thing. It's a get a good offensive coordinator in there. Shane Waldron was obviously terrible. They get him out of there. It's a year 2 situation for the Bears. Packers continue to chug along, 7-3, just kind of in the middle of the pack. quiet, just doing their thing, it's a good sign that they can win. They can win these road divisional games and just stay in the mix. I like the Packers as kind of a sneaky dark horse for the Super Bowl. I have just a little sprinkling on DraftKings Sportsbook for a Green Bay Super Bowl. Just a little just like one of these. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, Green Bay won the Super Bowl. Made $250. Whoa, hey, whoa. Bo Nix, dude. Hey, guys, Bo Nix. Beginning of the season, we were like, this guy sucks. All of a sudden, Bo Nix, very ready quarterback, right? It's interesting. I was thinking of this. We ask the guys who are phenoms in the sport, whether it's their athletic ability, whether it's their tangibles, right? Size, speed, weight, arm talent, cerebral talent. We ask them to come in and play at an incredible level right off the bat. Caleb Williams, you're amazing. You won the Heisman Trophy. Go out and be great. There is a very short window for a quarterback to be developed in the NFL. We're at such a pressurized situation. The front office, the coaching staff, the QB, coach, the offensive coordinator is in such, let's go now, get wins now. Go be Jaden Daniels now. Where is it that a quarterback can be developed, right? Is it in college? Is it when they get to the pros? Is there a gap in between where they can kind of straddle the line between I'm learning a ton in college, now moved over, and now it's starting to click for me in the pros? It almost seems like guys like Bo Nix, who is billed as ready to play now because he's played so long, played a million years in college, right? Was at Auburn, then went to Oregon, played well, ends up being a first-round pick. First couple of games starts a little slow, but has now turned the tide and is, dude, a legitimate quarterback right now. Like, he's playing really good ball. I get it. Atlanta's defense is not great, but there's a lot of teams that aren't that great, and guys aren't putting that on film. That's one. Two, you look at Jaden Daniels, right? I know he won the Heisman Trophy. I know he's playing amazing this year, but you're talking about another guy who played a very full amount of time in college, played at Arizona State, then went to LSU, played a couple more years, won a Heisman Trophy, has been through those reps, has seen SEC level talent, has gone to the next level and played excellently. It almost is like when you're looking at guys to bring up and that you want to stake your franchise on, the guys that have been there and done that and maybe are not the Anthony Richardsons of the world that can throw the ball 85 yards, run a 4.34. Maybe it's the guy who has seen the adversity and been through stuff that can be the franchise leader. I don't know. Just something I was thinking about. But Bo Nix, the Broncos absolutely wiped the floor with the Falcons 38-6. Bo Nix goes for 28 of 33, 307, and 4 scores. Like, there's a lot of teams that are playing bad defenses, and quarterbacks do not do that. I'm bullish, very bullish on the Denver Broncos, who, by the way, sneaky 6-5 in the mix. We'll wrap it out quick. Seahawks and 49ers. Geno gets a score on the ground to win that one. Both teams sit at 5-5. The NFC West is in a very interesting spot because, click the NBA, my bad. Because almost when you talk about parity, the most parity in any division is in the NFC West. Arizona sits top right now at 6-4. Rams with the win today, 5-5. Seahawks with a win today, 5-5. San Francisco with a loss today, 5-5. They're basically all right around here, and then a little blip. San Francisco's. I'm not going to be fooled and be like, oh no, they're done. It's over for San Francisco. I'm not going to do that. I know that their coach is too good for that kind of stuff, right? I believe in that system. I believe in their quarterback. I believe in their weapons. McCaffrey's still trying to get things rolling. All they got to do is hover around 500, sneak into the playoffs, try to get healthy at the right time, and go on a run. But that is a very war of attrition division in the NFC West. All right, anything else that we missed here? Lions. Lions are the best team in football. Not really much else to say. Lions are the best team in football. They can do whatever they want on the ground. They can do whatever they want through the air. Defensively, they missed their best pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers in the league. Doesn't matter. They're going to continue to get pressure. They're going to continue to make plays in the secondary. And for all intents and purposes, the best team in the NFL right now, period. Nobody is better than the Detroit Lions. And I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card when Dan Campbell was saying they were going to bite off kneecaps and be a tough team. Nobody had them 3-4 years later being this. It's just a juggernaut offensively. Where Jared Goff is playing MVP level ball. Crazy. All right. Bengals Chargers tonight. That's in about 15 minutes. We'll do a quick five minutes or so on some Q&A stuff. TD, if you want to bring up, I know you're starting some stuff. Will Jacksonville fire their coach? They needed to like 3 weeks ago. They needed to fire their coach 3 weeks ago. Peterson, Press Taylor, everybody in Jacksonville, they need to completely restart everything. They've got Trevor Lawrence already in place. He's, whether you like him or not, he's a good enough quarterback for what you want to build around. You've already given him the big contract. You got Brian Thomas Jr., who's a very nice piece. You got pieces around him. Evan Ingram, I like. When Christian Kirk is there and healthy, that's a good piece. ETN and Tank Bigsby in the backfield. There's pieces there. They got to shore up a little bit of the offensive line, get some defensive pass rushers, some guys in the secondary. But like the mold is there. The mold is there for the Jags. The problem is they have the coach has lost the locker room. Press Taylor's got to go. There's got to be a full just sweep of the coaching staff and the front office in Jacksonville to get things rolling. So yes, they should fire their coach absolutely and call up Bill Belichick and make something happen. Next question. Is Saquon a legit MVP candidate with Jackson's performance today? See, but as Lamar's performance dips, Josh Allen's performance kind of goes just above. Saquon is incredible, right? As far as a skill position player, Saquon is having the best season out of anybody. And I'm trying to think of wide receivers. Obviously, Jamar Chase is having a great year. Justin Jefferson is always in the conversation. But when you look at most dynamic skill position player of this season, it's been Saquon Barkley, without a doubt. So I don't think he's going to win MVP. MVP has now, just kind of like the Heisman. GT's amazing. He's not going to win the Heisman because it's a quarterback award now. MVP is a quarterback award for the best team. And it's not me telling you that. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth. Like you can be a world beater running back and just not win the MVP. It's a different world now. I'll see that to him right now. Saquon is the best offensive weapon, non-quarterback division in football right now. Do you think the Cowboys are going to tank for the number one pick in the draft and will be Shedeur Sanders to play for his dad, new Cowboys coach Deion Sanders? Warren, I would have liked this theory if Dak hadn't gotten $240 million. That's the kicker. If Dak was still kind of flailing in the wind, you could convince me McCarthy out, Deion in, Shedeur Sanders number one pick. You build around him. You got CD. It would be just an absolute circus. It would be an absolute circus. I don't think it's going to happen. I would like to see Shedeur in the silver and black. I think him in a Raiders uniform would be incredible. We know they got a lame duck head coach. I don't think they're going to re-sign Antonio Pierce. Deion, prime time in Vegas. Do you catch my drift? Do you feel where I'm going, family? Do you guys see the vision? Shedeur Sanders, the black hole, Deion Sanders. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Next question. Best defense in the league right now. Voodoo child. It's the Steelers. It's the Steelers. Nobody is able to completely shut out teams from what they want to do from a game plan perspective than the Steelers right now. Watt is just a man possessed off the edge. If you ask me who's the best defensive player, I think it's TJ Watt. And I think Steelers have the best defense in football. A close second, I think Broncos defense is really good. Obviously, Chiefs defense is really good. But right now, for my money, it's the Steelers. They're winning games because of their defense, which as an offensive guy, as a quarterback, as a guy who loves to see the evolution of offense and I want to go out and score 50 points a game, I hate watching the Steelers. I hate watching that defense because I know that whatever quarterback's on the other side, MVP candidate Lamar Jackson, it doesn't matter. They're just going to get blown up by everything the Steelers want to do, and there's nothing that the quarterback can do. So Steelers' best defense in football right now. What do you think Higgins will do tonight off of his quad injury? I'm not super excited to see where. Let me rephrase that. I'm excited to see T. Higgins. I think he's a great player, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute tonight. Maybe he's out there as a bit of a decoy, try to take some heat off Jamar Chase. Obviously, everybody's going to be keying in on Jamar Chase. The Chargers defense is absolutely for real. That's another defense that I should have mentioned in the previous question. Chargers defense is legit. They are ball hawks on the secondary, get to the quarterback, don't allow you to run the ball, don't allow you to throw the ball. Chargers, a top 5 defense. We'll see where Higgins kind of falls in the pecking order tonight. If I would handicap it, I'd probably put T at maybe, I'd probably say 4 catches for 60 yards, somewhere in that mix. Goff back in the MVP. Yeah. He's here's the thing. He hasn't really left, right? He's kind of in that 4 or 5 MVP range, right? We got guys like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Burrow, those kind of guys. And then you've got Goff kind of floating. He could jump, right? As they continue to win and continue to be great, he can maybe jump some of those guys, but I think he's sitting at 5, 6, somewhere around there. New tiers. You know what? We'll do a new Tony's tiers quarterback going into right before the playoffs. We'll do quarterback playoff tiers. We'll do that coming up. All right, let's get to a couple more. Just joined. Have you discussed the Colts and Jets? Would you mind giving me a quick recap? Yes, the Chaz Tomato. The Jets somehow made a quarterback who got benched for a 40-year-old quarterback look like the ceiling of himself. Anthony Richardson, who struggled to complete 10 to 15 passes a game, completed 20 passes, ran for 2 scores, threw the ball over the yard, and looked amazing. And the Jets defense had no answer for him. And Aaron Rodgers looked pedestrian. Breece Hall looked good. Colts win a tight one. Jets fall to 3-8. Very quick recap. Jets are cooked. I started Herbert over Patty. Do you think that was a good call? Yeah. In a fantasy perspective, here I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been a good fantasy quarterback since Tyreek left. Period. If you look back at his numbers, he hasn't been great. Flat out. Herbert has had some spike weeks, and I think this is going to be another spike week because the Bengals defense is not good. So smart call, keeping Herbert in over Patty Mahomes. Tony, the Chargers are going to prove they're for real tonight. Proving you're for real is not going to be against the Bengals. This is going to be another win. Let's pull up the Chargers schedule real quick. I'll tell you when we'll see if the Chargers are for real or not. Next week. Next week we'll see if the Chargers are for real. They play the Ravens on Monday night. So I know it's not the answer you wanted. Next week we'll see, are the Chargers for real? Thoughts on Monday Night Football? Cooper Rush and them boys. This is a moment for CJ Stroud and Nico Collins to start getting back on the same page. That offense has not looked the same since he left. Stephon Diggs got hurt. Tank is not a number one. Joe Mixon's been running the ball well, but their offense has not been clicking. There's been a lot of gaps in that offense. And I think Nico Collins, to me, for my money, is a top 5 receiver when healthy in the NFL. He is excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's see if he can relieve some of the pressure that CJ Stroud is feeling when he's looking around and sees John Mechie, he sees Tank Dell, he sees Dalton Schultz, and he's like, who do I throw the ball to? Everybody's covered. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Dolphins in the mix. All they got to do is continue to win their games. They did what they had to do today. Score touchdowns, win decidedly. I know the score is not indicative of how close the game was. I know there was a late touchdown there by Johnny Smith. But the point for me is, can the offense look like it did last season? That's a win. He needs to continue doing that. The team needs to continue doing that if they want to stay relevant in the mix. So in the mix, maybe. Who you got in the Grey Cup? Ooh. I don't follow the CFL, but I feel like the Argonauts are always in the Grey Cup, and I'm going to take the Argonauts. Or the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I don't know if the Roughriders are in it or not. Sports, who's leading the MVP race? After today, Josh Allen. Team's 9-2. Made the signature play that he needed to finally beat his arch rival, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs. Right now, for me, it's Josh. Let's see a couple more here, and we'll get you guys out. Let's see. Oh, the Alouettes, of course. Oh, Argonauts are down 1 right now. Okay. That was a funny one, actually, Thomas. Question, why did you put Taylor on a speedboat in that interview that was very disrespectful to the guy no one's heard of? Yeah, agreed. I don't know. Best villain in the NFL right now. That's a good question. Best villain? George Pickens. George Pickens is the best villain in football right now. Suplexing people, giving people the people's elbow, talking trash, making plays. I think the best villain in the NFL is George Pickens. All right, let's do 3 more. 3 more, and we'll get you guys out of here just in time for Sunday Night Football. Can the Colts win the AFC South? It's gonna take a lot. I know they're only down a game, but I think it was a remedy for. I'll say this: you're not going to play the Jets every week. So it's going to take more, because I think the Texans now with Nico Collins, CJ Stroud's going to figure a couple things out, and they're going to start ascending. But they could possibly. I mean, the NFL, right? Anything can happen. Thoughts on the 49ers? They need to start getting healthy. They need to start clicking better. They need to put some wins together, because the most important thing is getting to that wild card spot. They're last in the division right now, dead last in their own division that they've dominated. So you can't lose to Seattle like that. They've lost to Arizona. They've lost to a bunch of teams that they shouldn't have. And I know McCaffrey's been hurt. He's starting to get things going on. So we'll see. 49ers need to make the wild card. Dark horse Super Bowl contender. Steelers. I'll give you 2. Steelers, Packers. I said Packers earlier. I have a little sprinkling on them to win the Super Bowl. I like Packers as a dark horse. I like Steelers as a dark horse. All right. One more. We got time for one more. Let's see. Ooh, team to keep an eye on. That's a good question. Team to keep an eye on. From the boy Anthony Ortiz. Let's see here. Take a look at the in the AFC. In the AFC, keep an eye on the Broncos. So I want you to keep an eye on them, okay? I want you to keep an eye on them.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Thank you. Even though they got better when he left, but the point is, keep an eye on the Broncos in the AFC, right? I feel like we've talked about AFC is very top heavy. Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Chargers, Baltimore, Houston. A lot of teams that you kind of figure, look, they're going to be in the mix. Keep an eye on the Denver Broncos. And in the NFC, I talked about Green Bay already as my dark horse, so I can't have them as a team to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on the Commies still. I know they got beat up. Eagles are starting to trend the right way, but keep an eye on the Commies. I think they're going to surprise some people, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it if they make a deep run in the playoffs. So keep your eye on Washington and keep your eye on Denver. Where do you think Vrabel lands next season? In a defensive coaching position with Bill Belichick in Jacksonville. And if this happens, chat, clip that, put it everywhere. You heard it here first. Just like you heard if Jaden Daniels somehow does the impossible and wins the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. You heard that in week 2 when I said it 9 weeks ago. So just remember all those things. We like to keep a tab on that here on Sunday Night Live. All right, game's about to kick off. We got 5 minutes. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Let me see here. All 4,200 people watching on the Twitter feed, thank you. Everybody watching on YouTube, 540 of you watching on YouTube, thank you. And everybody on Twitch, we love our Twitch family. Thank you guys for hanging out. Sunday Night Live, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. We'll be back next week, okay, for week 12 of the NFL season. Guys, I can't believe it's already week 12. We've been flying through this season. If you're in town, if you're local, South Florida, get out to Flanny's. Hold on, where's my cup? Get out to Flanny's in North Miami. I think it's 31. It's good. It's 1325, something like that, North something Boulevard. We'll have it. We'll tweet it out. I don't know. It's far away from me, but we'll be out there watching Steelers Browns on Thursday Night Football. So if you're in town, go hang out with us at Flanny's. Over there, we're doing a watch party for Thursday Night Football. We'll be back on the show tomorrow. I will not be in tomorrow. I'm scheduled later on in the week. We'll get Tony's Top 5. We'll get all the stuff that you know and love. Thank you. 132nd of Biscayne. Thank you, Barry Lieberman. I knew it was somewhere. 132nd of Biscayne. Go hang out with us on Thursday. I'll be there, and we'll see you guys later. We appreciate you. Peace. Love you.